This video is an important video. I have been harassed from the liberal from the Prairies because I stand up against euthanization. He's not only harassed me, he used my videos to make lunatic shit out of them, which doesn't even make sense. Calls me a liar that this euthanization shit is really good. I blocked him. I blocked him because I qualified for euthanization at 40 East Hastings because the pain was so bad from inhaling the druggies urine that I was forced to, and their fentanyl. Took 3.5 years, diagnosed for the stupid doctors in Vancouver to listen to me. Hey, I live in a toilet. It's the toilet that's making me sick. 3.5 years. And for the last year, maybe more, I've been totally harassed with my own videos. And the truth is even more terrifying than I thought.
For execution. But Canada, in North America, the United States and Canada had been using it for execution, in America for death penalty. So they finally caught on to that. And anesthesiologists use it as one of the first drugs pushed to put you under. But here's what's really crazy is they said, well, there's got to be more to this. So they did it's a Freedom of Information Act with the NPR, with a journalist, and they got over 300 autopsies of individuals who were executed in America. And they didn't just get the autopsy kind of overview, they were given in-depth files. And when they went through them, 85% of those bodies showed a 2 times level increase of water in the lungs. So what was happening is when this drug is pushed, it causes a drowning, and it's stated as akin to dying by waterboarding or drowning. Meaning, the reason people in Canada who are given MAID seem peaceful is because they're giving a paralytic first. So they're completely paralyzed, then this drug is administered as one of the 4, and they start drowning to death. Okay? So that means that when it's done by IV, it takes 10 to 15 minutes. That person could be literally drowning. Well, they're drowning to death, but they could be screaming if they weren't under a paralytic.
This is what he supports for Canadians. Rest in peace, Mary Lou. I have been traumatized since you came on my YouTube channel, Euthanized One. The lies were so incredible. This freaking freak liberal from the Prairies pushing. How racist do you gotta be to push euthanization on someone with a German Jewish last name? Is that not just a trigger already? But then to find out that these people aren't even having a peaceful death. And where do you go before you enter? When you enter a murder-suicide contract, they are convinced they're entering a health contract. It is not health, because it's not healthy for you. Anyway, let's go back.
Guantanamo, there's a reason we had to stop. It falls under cruel and unusual punishment. Yet we are having people like dying with dignity say that this falls under compassion and empathy. When you're drowning people chemically to death.
You found this out at the Senate hearing?
No, I found this out yesterday when the Senate hearing was given to me and the transcripts were given to me. It was Dr. Joel B. Zivok, Associate Professor of Emory University and School of Medicine, the Vancouver Coastal Health Authority. So what's been happening is that case I was telling you about, Fraser Health is withholding the families. They can't see her autopsy. They're not allowing it. They won't give access. The police have tried to get it.
This is the same case.
This is the same, yeah. So they will not give it to the family. So Fraser Health is literally lying.
So Fraser, I believe that's here in the lower mainland, Fraser Healthcare, and they're lying. I had to listen. I've got my videos up there calling me a liar about euthanization. Well, this guy desperately wants to keep downtown East Side a shit show with druggies. I don't know. Is it his hunting ground? It was Robert Picton's hunting ground. Why does he want Canadians euthanized so bad? Number two is, why wouldn't he have respect? Why would he push euthanization? That's how the German Nazis started, on a person with a German Jewish last name. I'm so exhausted. When I saw this, it upset me. And it upsets me when I see my videos. I think this is an important issue. And nobody lies more than Trudeau. He wants to keep downtown East Side a shit show for what? What? Liberal from the prairies? Is it your hunting ground? There's something wrong with you harassing me about this on my channel. Calling me a liar, like it's peaceful. People deserve to enter a murder contract, suicide. That's forever. Where do they go? Because Sunday law's coming soon from the Pope's office. And if you're an atheist believing in nothing, you're going to be having to worship someone. If you don't think Sunday law is coming, do a little Googling. Maybe change your IP address off Censored Canada.
So what's wild about this, though, is Dying with Dignity says that this is a painless death. Well, if you take MAID orally, it takes between 30 minutes to 24 hours. 24 hours of active drowning while you're under a paralytic. So the autopsies are showing that you actually drowned to death. And you're waterboarded to death within your own body and you can't move or do anything about it. And that's how Dying with Dignity in the Canadian government has disguised MAID, while they're offering it to Canadian veterans instead of treatment so they don't have to pay for their pension.
I'm so disgusted. Also, one of the MPs from the parliament doesn't want to go back to not euthanizing people because they have saved a lot of money. And she's in charge of mental health. I couldn't believe I heard this old witch say it out of her own mouth, and she does look like a witch. Right now, Bennett. There we are. Caroline Bennett, I believe her name is. The fact that our euthanized people have been suffering and not even having fluffy deaths, which isn't really possible when you enter a murder-suicide contract, and 90% of people's religions, An atheist, your time's up. Yeah, you were a tool for, Freemasons. Darwin, he didn't even believe his own garbage. And he wasn't smart enough not to marry his own cousin and made his own kids suffer. Because you know what happens when you do that inbreeding. So let's go back to this.
So they don't have to pay for their health care the same way they don't have to do with their
elders. That's part of the slippery slope, isn't it? Because it makes such... Well, I saw the other day, a month ago probably, I think it was a Japanese philosopher who said that it was incumbent on the elderly to submit themselves to government-assisted dying because of the benefits on the cost-saving side.
Are you struggling with back taxes or unfiled returns?
In care that costs $8,000 to $10,000 a month when you can't even afford to live in a 2-bedroom basement apartment. And furthermore, there's no housing because we're taking every single person into this country and acting as if Canadians are second citizens, because that's what's happening.
That's what I say all the
Canada
time.
is falling. We have no identity. We're killing our own citizens. And people act like people like me are going crazy. I'm not going crazy. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. We are killing innocent people, and children are on the they are on the chopping block.
They are.
If we didn't stop that bill by the 17th, children down to the age of 12 with parent consent. A 17-year-old could walk into a hospital and say, I want to die, by MAID, and guess what? If you try to stop it as a parent, you will be arrested. I'm not sure morally where we have either lost our minds, lost the plot, been paid off, or just decided that we no longer care about the generation after us. But But something is going really wrong when I have group homes calling me or messaging me on Instagram going, Kelsey, I'm hearing of huge swaths of these groups sitting down going, convincing each other to die, that they're going to walk in together. Because Simons has made it seem like it's bubbles on a beach in a cave.
Yeah. No, that's the
what are we saying?
romanticization that I was talking about.
But what are we saying to the youth? That there's no future, there's no goals, you can't buy a home, there's nowhere to live, you can't don't try to get a doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
Don't bother. So honestly, what do they have to look forward to? But I'm telling you right now, this has never been talked about. This part here, where it is drowning to death, where you're waterboarding to death, no one, not one person has said this. I have never heard this.
And you just found out about this?
Yesterday. And I found out because there was an event in South Surrey that my girlfriend I was telling you about, her mother was taken, she was at, and she goes, Kelsey, one of the Delta hospice centers is being shut down because they refused to do MAID. So it wasn't necessarily Rebel, but it was Sheila and Keon. They made this documentary to talk to people like us going, they're saying that they need government right to do this, but hey, they're already doing it and they've been doing it. And we have audio recordings of veterans. We have the Minister of Veterans Affairs lying to Mercedes Stevenson on the West Block saying it was one veteran, when we have multiple veterans, multiple case managers, audio recordings, and written testimonies. So are we just okay with everyone lying now? Is that where we're at? We accept lies as truth and there's no moral qualms with that? Because if anybody is a God-fearing individual right now, the whole idea is I don't really care what you believe in. All I ask is stop lying. Be honest. If you want to kill people to save money, say it. That's it. Just say what you mean, but stop dancing around like you're doing this out of empathy. You are killing vulnerable people to save money to send to another country that bought you out in 2000 and was it 13? And that's a CSIS document. We've sold our country, we've sold our people, and we've told our youth that we should just die because there's nothing to live for in this country. How am I supposed to combat that? I'm one voice up there. Thank God you showed up. If you didn't show up, none of us, people like me, would have no footsteps to walk in. We would have no path carved out for us. You're the first in the door. You took the heat. You're like the breacher. You're the guy that shows up and goes, I'm going to kick that door in, and whatever's going to come is I'm just going to take it because I have to. You had a moral obligation because if you didn't do it, the rest of us would have nowhere to go and nowhere to turn if you didn't show up. So I'm so grateful to be here, and I'm so grateful that you gave us the space, because I don't know what else to do because I can't scream any louder.
I just want to cry. To think everything I've gone through and all the harassments are 90%, or let's say 99% are men. 95. My neighbor, she was a lunatic at the last place, but you know what? I feel bad for her. She looks like she's going to die in 2 months since I've left that place. I forgave her. And I hope she moves out. To see her in such horrible shape, my frenemy, my horrible neighbor, was heartbreaking. And I've been harassed doing what this lady does by the liberal from the Prairies YouTuber. Now he harasses me quite a bit with my own videos. We live downtown East Side. We women, we live in Robert Picton's fucking hunting ground. And that doesn't stop this liberal from the Prairies making up crap and putting all these lies and using my videos for trying to do what this lady's doing. Hey, folks, you know, where do they go after they die when they enter a murder-suicide contract? Hey, folks, I don't care if you're an atheist. You shouldn't be involved in this. You're only 10% of the world. And if you think that life came out of a chemical soup and then evolved to humans last, that's just crazy. Especially since Darwin, 33-degree Freemason, didn't even believe his own shit. Yeah, this makes me really sad to be in Canada.
I don't know what else to do anymore. We deserve better, and so do our kids.
Yeah.
And so do our citizens. We don't deserve this. Canada doesn't deserve. No one deserves to be waterboarded to death except for the people that deserve to be waterboarded to death. And there are people that deserve to be waterboarded to death. And I can tell you right now that I've seen that done to someone. You don't wish that on anyone. You don't wish that on anyone. It would have been easier. It's easier to put bricks around my feet and go jump in the ocean than it is to die by MAID. That is a terrifying way to die.